This is the 2014 Specialized Turbo, now available in black. As you can see, it's a pretty mean looking design, and gosh, I just have a whole lot to say about this thing. It's always been super stiff, very fast and high performance. This thing costs $5,900 bucks, so it's not the most affordable electric bike, but you really get just top performance for that money. Starting off with the battery pack. So to turn the bike on, you press that button right there. You can charge this thing on or off the bike using this energy bus standard. So it's magnetic. The old one also had this, but just kind of neat. And there's another plug at the base of the battery pack. I love that this thing is so low and integrated on the frame. It keeps the weight right where you want it. It's also just beautiful aesthetically. It's built right into the bike, and you kind of, it's easy to appreciate that this isn't like a big battery thing hanging off the back. It isn't going to, bounce around and rattle when you're riding. It's smooth, it's efficient, and it's got a built-in water bottle cage mount right there that a lot of electric bikes don't. And it's a little weird, like when you take the battery off, the cage is still on there. But I love that they've kept it because, you get thirsty. You're riding this thing around. You need to think about the human aspects of a bicycle. And speaking of that, this is a large size frame, comes in 4 sizes, so you can actually get this thing to fit your body. It is a performance machine, and as such, you want it to feel right. And so coming back to like the seat, body geometry, Specialized is all about it. It comes with this little mirror for safety. When you're riding along, the mirror doesn't, it kind of sticks out a little bit. So if you're going through a door, it's not quite as convenient to like flip it to the side without sort of messing up how it's positioned, but I like that they include it. You could always take it off. These kind of are, semi-ergonomic grips, but also performance really in terms of the pattern on them and the sizing. Great grip. Even the pedals have these really nice set screws that you can kind of lower or heighten for the grip, and they're just wide. Really easy to use, and they're not the kind of thing that you just take off immediately like a lot of electric bikes. Coming back up here, we've got these nice hydraulic levers that are easy to pull and actually designed to just use a couple fingers right there. Formula R1s, and then 180 millimeter rotors front and rear, so you get a lot of stopping power. And while we're down here, look at this. It's nice thru-axle right there, and even the bottom bracket. What this does is, especially for the wheels, it just makes it a little bit more rigid, and it gives the bike more strength as you're riding at high speed. And that's one of the things that the Turbo's always been known for. Is it was one of the first bikes to go above 20 miles per hour in assist mode. So if you're actively pedaling this, you can hit like 28 miles per hour. And that's pretty satisfying. And this thing, again, is meant to handle that kind of speed. Even if you look at the frame, it's sort of this aluminum alloy. It's a beautiful design, but you'll notice that the head tube is tapered, so it's a little bit wider at the bottom. Extra stiff that way. I must say, even though this is a very stiff bike, it doesn't have a suspension fork, doesn't have a suspension seat post or anything, it still feels pretty good. You've got these a little bit larger tires here. They're Electrac, and it's just like slicks, like on a race car, but they're a little bit squishier too. So as you're riding along, the fact that this thing is rigid and that you've got those soft, squishy tires creates this sort of balance where it feels good, especially on the tarmac out there cruising around. So on the back, we've got the SRAM EXO derailleur, 10 speeds. There's 10-speed cassette, 1 ring on the front, and it's got this nice metal, kind of a bash guard, a little bit of a guide, and that might keep your hands from touching the chain, and also keeps you from chipping those teeth when you're going over rocks or downstairs or whatever, if you're carrying it around. Nice little kickstand over there that actually balances the bike left to right. This is just a bit heavier than 50 pounds, this bike, so it's nice to have something like that stabilizes it a little bit. And if you are taking this on a car, like a rack or something like that, it's great that the top tube is more traditional. So you could, use those hanging style racks. Of course, you can take the battery off, reduce the weight significantly that way. And, that's nice. It makes it a little bit more versatile. You can carry this thing around a little bit easier. So let's hit the drivetrain specs. This motor right here is direct drive, and it's gearless. So direct drive means it's directly driving the bike from this rear axle that's really burly, reinforced like that. You can kind of see on both sides. And gearless means that you don't have a lot of like a planetary gear system where there are plastic gears inside rubbing as you go, and that's going to make the wheel last longer, or rather the motor. It's very quiet, it's smooth, it's efficient, and it gives this the ability to use regenerative braking, which it does. And there are two levels, actually. You can arrow down with the controller and get to regen, or you can pull the right brake lever, and you can see this second cable here actually sends the signal to use regen, and that can save your disc brakes a little bit too, keep your brake pads going for a little bit longer. The spec on this thing is about 250 watts. That's what it says officially right here, 250 watt nominal, but the peak output is quite a bit higher, up towards above 700 watts, and you feel it. Like when you ride this thing, it's very responsive, and it kicks in, and that's part of what gets you up to that 28 miles per hour. And there are two modes. You've got like a turbo mode and an eco mode. So depending on whether you're trying to, extend the life of the battery pack and go for range, you go for eco. If you're going for, climbing and speed and everything, you go for turbo, and it wears your battery out a little bit faster. But the pack on this is significantly larger than the 2013 version. It's a 36 volt, 14 amp hour configuration using lithium-ion cells with what they say is a higher C rating. So, there's kind of all the marketing stuff that says, we designed our battery pack to work specifically with this motor and to be able to draw quickly so we could execute the highest amount of power. It's all about performance. And again, at the $5,900 mark, and coming from Specialized, which has always been known for racing and performance and stiffness and, all of that, you really get it. And you can feel that with this bike. It's definitely one of the sportier bikes out there, one of the sportiest ones that I've had the chance to ride. So earlier, I pressed that button, turned it on. You can see the battery pack is fully charged with these green LEDs. Here's the little display panel. Right now it's in regen mode. There's kind of these arrows circling each other, and I can arrow up to nothing. So that's just riding. And then up to eco and turbo. Okay, so the neat thing about the new interface is that it's right there, right where you can reach it. Here are the human-powered gears, so I can change from one of those 10 speeds, and here's the electric assist stuff. So it's neat that it's all within reach like that. The other side, again, just a brake lever and a little bell. It's a much better, I'd say, than before. There was like a little display right in the middle, and you kind of had to use like a little breakout rubberized thing. This keeps it all encapsulated right here, and it is built into sort of the lever configuration, so it's all very purpose built the way this thing is set up. And I should show the lights. To activate those, you press down on the button and just downwards, and you get that super bright front light from Supernova. And in the rear, you've got these nice LED lights built right into the seat. So if you end up changing this seat, you're in a bit of a tricky situation. And you can see that the wire runs down through the seat post tube. So a friend was trying to add like a thud buster thing, or suspension seat post, and had to do some custom work to get that light to work still. But the neat thing about this bike is they do give you the option of adding your own stuff, like a rack. You can see these nice bosses on the seat stay. And down here, here's a couple more threaded eyelets on the front. You can see there's some more braze-ons right there. So, they do give you quite a bit of freedom in how you want to set this thing up, and it's just a high-performance machine. So maybe enough talk. I should probably just hop on this thing and ride it around a little bit. But I did want to show, with a direct drive gearless motor like this, you have something that called cogging, which is, you know, there's all these magnets inside. There's a stator, and that's how the motor goes. Electricity goes through the stator, and it pushes the magnets. But when you're coasting and there's no electricity happening, those magnets are still repelling on the stator. And so what that means is that the wheel slows down quicker. It just doesn't freewheel, right? So I always try to give a quick demo of what that looks like. I'm turning off the bike. Right. So you can see the wheel slowed down faster than if it was just, you know, a perfectly efficient freewheel. And that's the motor. There's that cogging thing happening. And that's part of, you know, the benefit of an electric bike. You've got the motor assisting you, and in this case for quite a while, given the 14 amp hours of capacity. But also if you run out, you're dealing with a 50+ pound heavier thing that's even resisting you a little bit. Unless there's a huge hill, you know, you can regen, but it doesn't generate electricity that quickly. So I guess keep that in mind. Again, that's true of all gearless hub motor designs. And the other advantage, like, you know, look, the motor weight is kind of, or the battery weight's kind of up front, the motor weight's a little bit in the rear. There's new electric bikes that have the mid-drive, but they put more stress and strain on the gears, on the chain, and it's, you know, it's assisting you more as a rider, whereas this one's a little bit separate, but it's applying that force directly into the wheel. And given the nice thru-axle design, it's burly, and I appreciate it. I think it feels really smooth, and again, very quiet. So here we go. I'm gonna take it down to no assist. There we go. Now I'm gonna go up to turbo. Oh man. Woo! No problem getting to 20 miles per hour at all. You really feel it kicking in, and it's silent. That's the other thing. If you hold forward on the little joystick right here, if you hold it up, it does act as a throttle. And so I'm doing that right now, and it's taking me up to about 10 miles per hour, and then it kind of cuts out. So that's neat. It's neat that they included that a little bit, just to get you going. You know, we'll do it again. Holding it up. Yep, there it goes. 7, 9, and then it cuts out around 10 or 11 miles per hour. I think that might actually be useful to do a little hill climbing test. It's a fairly sizable hill that I'm on right now. I'm going to stop about halfway down, and I'm just going to use that little mini throttle to see if it can get me up. Whoa! Yep. You can see, you know, I'm climbing right here, completely using a throttle. It's cut out at about 6 miles per hour, but that's pretty impressive. And then here now it's really picking up because we're on the flats. So very cool. Very cool that it adds both of those features. And again, pretty simple design. Just being able to use that little joystick to kind of navigate around and check out your trip meter. You got your odometer, and going up and down. And there's the battery level, 96%. Yeah, that's it. And again, the two modes, turbo or eco, to maintain your battery down to nothing. And actually, let's see. I'm in nothing mode here. Let's see if regen will still work. Pedaling, you know, you realize it's like, okay, it's a bit heavier when you're not using the motor. Yeah. And regenerative braking still works when you're, even if you're in like nothing mode. So that's cool. You know, you could just be using this like a bicycle. getting a workout, and then as soon as you pull the brake, you're getting a little bit of assistance from the motor in stopping. And then of course there's full-on regen mode, which would help us descend that hill we were looking at a minute ago. So I wanted to give a quick demo of what it's like to actually be on the turbo, cruising at high speed and climbing hills and stuff. I found a good stretch of road. Let's do it. There we go. Getting into turbo mode. At 30 miles per hour right now. Climbing a hill. Got a pretty big hill in front of us. Still going very fast. Whew. No problem. No problem. Look what we just came up. Beautiful. We definitely hit 30 miles per hour. This thing is pretty impressive. Yeah, that's a look at the 2014 Specialized Turbo, sort of updated. We got the black version here. It's a sweet bike. You know, it's definitely solid and fluid and just so integrated. It's beautiful, really. A lot of fun to ride. It may not be perfect, obviously, for off-road riding, and depending on your budget, you know, that could be a limitation, but I've definitely enjoyed it. I love to see that they're pushing the envelope with this thing in terms of top speed and being an innovator in that sense with the first 28 mile per hour electric bike in the US, and just the larger battery pack and the easier to reach control panel. So yeah, for the full written review with specs and pictures, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.